To Navigating to Success. I am Jeff Carl, certified focal point business and executive coach, and another business journey explored. Today, I have with me Tyler Johnson, Heights 307, videography, drones, a ton of really interesting stuff. This is going to be fun. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Jeff.
So, tell us about Heights 307. Tell us all the stuff you do.
Oh, I kind of do a little bit of everything, as if it's around a camera or drones or anything like that. Event photography, videography, product videos, a lot of real estate work, ranches, real estate, YouTube content for agents and stuff like that. And then also listing videos and those things as well. I've done a few weddings, photography, and then just kind of started with a camera, and anywhere something comes up, I take the opportunity to experience that and see how it goes, and if it's something I enjoy doing, and kind of keep going if I do.
How long ago did you start it?
I started it in 2000 or 2017. I'm also a real
2017.
yeah, I'm also a real estate agent and broker, and worked in my family's real estate office that my grandfather started in 1958.
Wow.
And I was like, always kind of been a tech guy, and I saw the drones and I thought, well, this would be a great thing for listings, aerial video and pictures. And my
Yeah,
dad was
it's
my,
it's a new thing and it actually really helps out a lot.
yeah, it gives you a different perspective as you're scrolling through Zillow or the MLS. Then all of a sudden you see an aerial image. It kind of sets that listing apart from the others just from
Yeah,
that
for
one
sure.
spot. So I bought a drone for $1,600 and filmed our first listing with it. And it was sitting on the desk, and my dad said, "Well, how much was that?" I said, "Well, $1,600." And he told me I was stupid. I said, just wait," because he was born in 1942, so he
Yeah.
didn't quite understand it. And I put together the first video and was real proud of it, and hit play. And he watched about 30 seconds and turned around to walk away. And I thought, "You grouchy old man." And over his shoulder, he goes, "I'll pay for half of that." Okay, so I got him on board, and I used it for our own listings for about 6 months. And I thought, I bet other offices and agents would pay me to do this. So I went and got the FAA certification for a remote drone pilot, and just kind of kept going from there.
Yeah. It's really cool. So are you solo or do you have any employees?
For the photo and video, it's just me.
Right.
For the real estate stuff, I have 4 active agents underneath me and 3 more getting licensed as well. So I'll have a
Okay.
total of 7 agents for the real estate side.
And are you the only broker in your firm?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
it was just family operated, and then my mother and father passed away the last few years, so it's just me
Okay.
now.
And Douglas isn't exactly the sprawling metropolis that requires a massive operation. So 7 or 8's actually probably a fairly large firm for that area, isn't it?
Yeah, the local Remax has about 8 agents. I'll have 3 agents in Douglas, and then I also have one in Glenrock, and then 2 in Casper. Well, 3 in Casper now.
Okay. All right. So satellite offices as well. So expansion. So the real estate business, it sounds like it's on a little bit of a growth profile for what you're doing. How much is the drone business helping stimulate that growth in the other business?
It is a main factor as far as recruiting agents and stuff like that. Just one of the benefits that I provide for as being the broker. I spent the last 5 or 6 years, working with other agents and helping them promote their listings. It's one of those things where you don't do a listing video to sell the home. You do it to help with your marketing and everything like that. But what you're really doing is that brand awareness. They're seeing other sellers are seeing, oh, that agent provides this when you list with them. And so I feel it's more of a tool to promote and get more listings than actual help sell that current home. I mean, it
Right.
does factor.
And it's interesting because you found a way to take your competition, um, if I can use that term, and make them allies and strategic partners for your business endeavors as a holistic whole, which is something that a lot of people don't even consider. They're just like, oh no, they're the enemy. And real estate's not really like that because if you put a great listing up, one of your agents may have the buyers that sees and everybody gets a piece of that pie. So it's interesting how you've navigated that. I like it. Um,
Well, I feel it's more of a, there's enough business for everybody, you know,
that's a
and
great attitude to have.
when you're doing a transaction, you have to work together to get it from start to completion.
Yeah,
And
it really is a collaboration to between both parties to make a sale go through.
yeah, so by offering, like I said, I spent 5 or 6 years building my skills with the photo and the video. And now I'm able to offer that for the agents that work for me in my office. I actually don't charge them for
Right.
any of their list marketing content or their video content. So if they want to work together and help build a YouTube channel or anything like that, I have all of that in house for those agents to be able to utilize to expand their brand. And at the same time, I'm still working with other brokers to help them promote their own listings as well.
Interesting. So you sound like you're fairly tech driven, um, and a little bit more on the cutting edge. Um, are you incorporating any elements of AI into your business?
A little bit, not a whole lot. I'm still kind of feeling that out and figuring out, which are the good ones to incorporate in and which are the bad ones. Um, I work with a bunch of different agents, and I guess it just all comes down to a different personality when they're trying to do YouTube content or even talk about a home that they're trying to showcase. Some will just be open and talk and have that easy kind of flow, natural conversation style, and others will go to Chat GTP in order to write a script, and then they try to follow that script verbatim as they're walking through and talking about a home or their YouTube content.
Right.
Um, the agents that I'm working with and trying to help, as coach them through their content, I feel it's a great idea for, or tool to get ideas for, but not to actually go word for word, because then you sound disingenuous. You put on
Yes.
that show, and then that's the first thing that you're going to lose somebody if you're not being yourself.
Yeah.
And
If reading from a teleprompter is an art, and very few people are good at it, the ones that are get elected, and then you find out they really didn't know what they were saying in the first place. So, um,
exactly.
what talk to me about other ways that you're using the drone business. So you're doing drone photography in the real estate space. Where else are you taking it?
A lot of photography. I really love photos being in Wyoming. I've got
Sure.
Douglas is kind of central, but I've got clients that are clear up on the north end of the state in Powell and Level. And then I go all the way down into Denver for my clients down there as well. And so I really love stopping and taking time as I'm traveling to or from jobs to just use the drone to take photos and make video, that type of content, just anything that catches my eye. I've looked into more like the inspections and that type of thing. There's the thermal imaging that you can always utilize those types of things for. Um, it's something I've kind of looked into, but I haven't taken a deep dive into an investment for that type of camera and drone type.
Right. Because I know there's so many other industries that use drones for so many different things in agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
ranching, um, uh, I have background growing up as a land surveyor. My little brother's a land surveyor, and he uses drones now, whereas we used to hire Cessna 186 to go out with a specially fitted camera to shoot. Um, so I think there's a ton of different opportunities for what you're doing. You could really expand.
Yeah, there's a couple of surveyors I've worked with over the years where they're doing the survey, but the client that's hired them would also just like one large image. So then they send that over to me and we plot out the property bounds, and then you can program the drone and set up a waypoints and a
Yeah,
computer path. You just hit start, it goes up and maps the
it's
whole
its thing.
property, taking a bunch of different images, and then we put it together. I've gotten some cool 3D images of a couple of different places on Casper Mountain for some different clients, and there's so many different ways to go with it that really it's just the opportunities are endless with those types of technologies.
Yeah, very cool. So the real estate side's on a bit of a growth trajectory. What does Heights 307 look like in a year or two? What's your plan there? Are you expanding?
I'm looking at expanding, just trying to figure out the best fit on which way I want to go. You know, you niche down, you become an expert in a certain type of, you know, type of product or deliverable. Um, but I like the variety. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure where I'm going to go with it as far as if I'm going to continue to focus solely on the real estate. I also do just the regular video production, so branding videos and that type of thing for clients as well. And I've really enjoyed that. So I've actually I've recorded 3 spec brand ads for clients. One was paid, and the other 3 were just friends of mine that are actually realtors. And I said, you want to connect and build your brand, but all anybody sees is what you've written down on your website and your headshot that you've had taken. I said, so why don't we sit down? You give me 15-20 minutes of your time and tell me the why behind who you are and what you're doing,
Love it. Yeah,
so
love
that
it.
you can, you know, connect with people more than just hi, I'm a realtor. And then also branching out for some other, I did a brand video for a life coach up in Casper this last fall, and followed her around for a couple hours in the afternoon, and then surprised her by saying, okay, now we're going to do the interview part. And she's like, oh, I didn't script anything. I said, that's why I didn't tell you about it. I said, let's just have a conversation for the next 20 minutes. And
That's
it turned out
yeah,
great.
that's how I run my podcast too. If it's scripted, then it's not very genuine. So like it. So you're a realtor, you're a drone pilot, and you've got a good marketing acumen that I don't know if you studied that or if it's just something you've developed over the last 7, 8 years.
Just kind of developed as I've gone. Self-taught YouTube. I mean, all the information that you need is out there if you look for it and are willing
Sure.
to spend the time to try it and see what works. And if it doesn't work, adapt and change and see where it goes from there. But so far, the drone stuff and the photo and video has grown. I think it was up 15% last year over the year before. So it's just continuing to grow as well.
How much time do you spend, what percentage of your time do you spend exclusively doing the drone stuff versus the videography and the real estate? How do you split it
It
up?
it really just kind of varies week to week. Um, I've got some of the agents that are working with me. They're very driven. They're ready to go out, get new business and want to work on a YouTube channel, work on marketing videos and stuff like that. And then a few others that are doing more the traditional sphere of influence sales approach. And the camera just makes them a little gun shy. So I tell the agents that are working underneath me that I will commit as much as they want to, but I'd say it's kind of right now about a 60-40 split, more on the photo and video than the real estate side. But the fun part of that is I'm working with other real estate agents in Casper, and they hire me to come take the pictures and the video. And then as I'm walking out the door, they say, "Hey, if you've got a buyer, or if anyone on your team's got a buyer, sell it." You know, so I'm
Yeah.
using both to cultivate those relationships and network. And like I said, everybody's got to work together, and there's enough business out there for everybody that it should
Yeah,
be
it's a
a
theme that I use often on this because tend to focus on the Western Plains and Rocky Mountain smaller businesses here is that honestly you got to cooperate to graduate here.
Mhm.
Um, Businesses don't survive playing cutthroat for very long out here. Um, so I really appreciate where you're coming from. So one last question, and we'll wrap it up on this. What was the biggest challenge that you found becoming the owner of the business? And we won't get into the accession part of assessing a family accession plan, but what was the biggest eye opener for you to become a business owner as opposed to just a businessman?
I would say, looking back on it, the whole ignorance is bliss. You know, when I started, I was just an agent working the family business, and my mom got sick, so I took over for her part of it. And then as my dad got older and sick, he kind of didn't come in as much either. So I just started the Heights 307 just out of, oh, I think somebody would pay me to do this, and just kind of went into it head first and just kept going and grinding through it. And then looking back, it's like, oh, should have done this a little bit differently. But I think that ignorance is bliss. There's a lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I would have known more versus just going for it, finding something
Yeah.
that I enjoyed doing and going full bore and not knowing better. I don't
Well, you
think I
don't
would have
know
done.
what you don't know until you fail at something, right? That's why fail early, fail often,
Yeah.
and the early part's important.
Yeah.
So, no, it's great. It's a really interesting journey. It sounds like you're successful, and more importantly, it sounds like you're happy with what you're doing, which is a key ingredient in all this. So, um, Tyler, I really appreciate your time today. Any parting shots before we sign off?
No, just thank you very much for the time to visit and share my story.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks again for coming on. And for everybody watching Navigating to Success, we'll see you next time on Business Journeys Explored.